In this video, I'm going to tell you some brutally honest truths about women and attraction that most men never hear in their entire lives. Not because these truths are hidden or complicated, but because they are uncomfortable to accept. They challenge everything men believe about love, effort, and relationships. If you truly understand what I'm about to explain, you'll stop chasing women, stop overthinking every message, and stop blaming yourself every time a relationship doesn't work out. Watch this video till the very end, because missing even one part will keep you stuck in the same cycle that silently destroys attraction for most men. Let's start with the most important rule you must understand before anything else. Human beings do not make decisions logically. They never have. They never will. Logic does not drive action. Emotion does. Logic only appears afterward to justify whatever decision the emotion already made. This is basic human psychology. Emotion is fast, instinctive, and powerful. Logic is slow and defensive. Emotion pulls the trigger, and logic cleans up the story afterwards so the decision feels reasonable. You see this everywhere in daily life. Someone buys a luxury phone even though their old one works perfectly fine. Someone enters a relationship they know is risky. Someone stays attached to a person who clearly isn't good for them. In all of these situations, emotion made the decision first. Afterward, logic steps in and creates explanations. This exact same process controls attraction, but men refuse to see it because they want attraction to be fair, logical, and predictable. When a woman feels attracted to a man, that attraction does not come from his resume, his explanations, or his achievements. It comes from how he makes her feel emotionally. Later, when she talks about him to her friends or even to herself, she starts adding logical reasons. She says he's confident, ambitious, mature, attractive, or successful. But those reasons did not create the attraction. They were added afterward to justify a feeling that already existed. This is why so many men feel confused and frustrated. They listen to what women say and take it literally. They try to improve logically. They think if they talk better, earn more, explain themselves clearly, or behave perfectly, attraction will automatically increase. But attraction does not respond to logic. It responds to emotional stimulation. And emotion does not care how much effort you put in or how fair the situation is. This becomes painfully clear during breakups. When a woman leaves a man, she rarely tells the real reason directly. She says things like, "You didn't understand me, you changed," or "I didn't feel valued anymore." Men take these words seriously and start analyzing conversations, behaviors, and mistakes. But these explanations are not causes. They are justifications. The real cause is almost always the same. The emotional attraction faded. If attraction was still alive, those problems would have been tolerated, discussed, or forgiven. Every relationship has flaws. Every man has weaknesses. The difference between a relationship that survives and one that ends is not logic or effort. It is attraction. When attraction is high, a woman focuses on your good qualities and minimizes your flaws. When attraction drops, she starts noticing everything that irritates her. The man did not suddenly become worse. Her emotional lens changed. This is also why money, stress, or circumstances are often blamed. If money were truly the issue, the relationship would never have started in the first place. In most cases, financial situations improve over time. What actually happened is that attraction declined, and once attraction disappears, the mind searches for logical reasons to leave. Logic becomes the excuse, not the cause. Understanding this single principle already puts you ahead of most men. Because once you accept that attraction is emotional, you stop trying to convince women logically. You stop proving yourself. You stop explaining every detail about your life. And that alone changes how women feel around you. Mystery begins where explanation ends. So if logic does not create attraction, what does? Emotional stimulation, curiosity, tension, uncertainty, feeling something without fully understanding why. These are the ingredients that trigger attraction on a subconscious level. One of the simplest ways to activate emotion is curiosity. Not by asking boring questions, but by making open-ended observations that pull her attention inward. When you say something like, "You seem like the type who hides more than people expect," her mind immediately engages. She starts thinking about herself. She wonders what you see in her and whether it's true. That internal focus creates emotional awareness, and emotional awareness creates attraction. Another powerful trigger is subtle psychological mirroring. This is not deep analysis or therapy. It's simply emotional recognition expressed lightly. Saying something like, "You look confident, but I feel like you don't trust easily," creates a sense of being seen. It doesn't need to be perfectly accurate. What matters is that it feels emotionally believable. When a woman feels emotionally understood, her guard drops naturally. Once these emotions are triggered, something important happens. Her mind wants to understand why she feels this way. She starts trying to label the attraction logically. She asks questions. She wants explanations. This is where most men destroy everything. They start explaining themselves, filling every gap, answering every question in detail. In doing so, they remove mystery, remove tension, and kill the emotional process. The logic must happen when you are not there. Attraction grows in your absence, not in your explanations. If you explain everything, her mind has nothing left to do later. If you leave things unfinished, her mind keeps working. And that leads us to the second truth, which most men completely misunderstand. Women do not fall in love when they are with you. They fall in love when you are not around. Love is not created through constant communication. It is created through emotional residue, the feeling that remains after the interaction ends. When you give her a strong emotional experience and then leave without resolving it fully, her mind starts replaying it again and again. The human brain hates unfinished stories. It craves closure. When closure is missing, the mind loops. She remembers how she felt, not the exact words you used. She wonders why it affected her. She imagines scenarios. This mental replay creates attachment. That attachment grows strongest in silence, not in constant messaging. This is why excessive texting and constant availability reduce attraction. Presence creates familiarity. Familiarity creates comfort. Comfort feels safe, but it does not create desire. Absence, when combined with emotional stimulation, creates longing. If you are always available, she enjoys you. If you disappear at the right moments, she starts missing you. Most men fail here because fear takes control. They fear losing her. They fear competition. They fear silence. So they over-text, over-call, and over-explain. In trying to secure the connection, they suffocate it. They turn mystery into predictability. And predictability quietly kills attraction. Now let's move deeper into the second truth, because this is where most men completely misunderstand how attraction actually grows. When I say that women fall in love when you are not around, I don't mean that you should disappear randomly or play childish games. What I mean is that emotional attachment is not created in constant presence. It is created in the space you leave behind. That space gives her mind room to work, imagine, and replay emotional moments. Without that space, feelings cannot deepen. Think about this carefully. The moments that stay in your memory are not the ones that were explained perfectly or discussed endlessly. They are the moments that were incomplete, emotional, and unresolved. The same is true for her. When you give her a strong emotional experience and then allow distance, her mind starts filling in the gaps. She thinks about your tone, your expressions, the tension she felt, and the questions that were left unanswered. That mental replay is where attachment is built. This is why men who are constantly available slowly lose emotional impact. When everything is accessible, nothing feels special. When every message is answered immediately, there is no anticipation. When every thought is explained, there is no mystery. Attraction needs uncertainty to breathe. It needs moments where the mind wonders instead of receives. Most men destroy this because they confuse effort with value. They believe that more time, more talking, and more availability will create closeness. In reality, it creates familiarity, and familiarity without tension turns into boredom. Desire is not created by comfort alone. Desire is created by contrast, by presence followed by absence, by emotion followed by silence. When a date ends, that is not the time to emotionally extend it through endless texting. That is the time to let the experience settle. If she reaches out, respond calmly, but don't flood her with attention. Let her be the one who feels the pull. Let her be the one whose thoughts return to you. This is not manipulation. This is how the human mind naturally attaches. Now let's move to the third truth, which is the most powerful and the most misunderstood of all. A woman becomes attached not because of how much attention you give her, but because of how much emotional effort she gives you. Attachment is created through investment, not through persuasion. Most men try to win women by giving more compliments, more reassurance, more explanations, more effort. But giving too much removes the need for her to invest. And when there is no investment from her side, there is no attachment. The brain does not value what it did not work for. When a woman explains herself to you, defends her choices, or tries to make you understand her, she is investing emotionally. Her brain subconsciously concludes that your opinion matters. That is when attachment begins to form. This is why men who chase rarely get commitment, while men who hold their ground naturally inspire it. To trigger this investment, you must hold your frame. Holding your frame means staying emotionally steady and not rushing to fix every misunderstanding. When she says something vague or slightly challenging, you don't immediately agree, argue, or clarify. You pause. You stay calm. You allow a moment of uncertainty. That uncertainty invites explanation, and explanation is emotional effort. Silence is one of the most misunderstood tools in attraction. Silence does not mean disinterest. Silence creates space. When used correctly, it makes the other person lean in emotionally. When you don't immediately react, she feels the need to fill the gap. She clarifies. She explains. She invests. Another powerful method is playful misinterpretation. This does not mean being rude or disrespectful. It means lightly twisting what she says in a teasing, confident way. When she corrects you, she is emotionally engaging. For example, if she says she doesn't trust people easily and you respond playfully that she must enjoy keeping secrets, she will naturally explain herself. That explanation is investment. Teasing labels work in a similar way. When you confidently label her behavior or personality in a slightly challenging way, her instinct is to respond. Saying something like, "You're not as innocent as you pretend," or, "You seem calm, but I feel like you're intense inside," creates a desire in her to shape how you see her. That desire pulls her emotionally closer to you. Even when she opens up about something personal, you don't immediately treat it as rare or extraordinary. You acknowledge it, but you don't overreact. When you act as if her experience is interesting but not unique, she feels the urge to stand out. She explains why her situation is different. Again, more emotional effort, more attachment. The most important part of this process is how you reward. You never reward her simply for existing, for being attractive, or for basic behavior. You reward emotional openness, honesty, and effort. When she explains herself or reveals something meaningful, you acknowledge it calmly. Your validation should feel earned, not automatic. When validation feels earned, it becomes deeply addictive. Over time, something subtle but powerful happens. She starts defining herself through your perception. She cares how you see her. Your approval begins to carry emotional weight. At that point, attraction no longer feels forced or fragile. It becomes self-sustaining. This is also why chasing backfires so badly. When you chase, you are the one investing. She is passive. Her brain feels no need to attach. When you stop chasing and simply hold your position, she becomes the one who moves emotionally. And the person who moves emotionally is the one who becomes attached. Now, it's important to understand that none of this is about manipulation or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding how emotional bonding actually works and not sabotaging it with fear-driven behavior. Confidence is not loud. Confidence is calm. It's the ability to sit with uncertainty without trying to control it. To really lock this lesson in, I want you to think about a woman from your past. Someone you cared about. Someone you lost or couldn't keep. Look back honestly, without blaming yourself or her. Notice where you over-explained. Notice where you tried to secure certainty instead of allowing emotion to grow naturally. That awareness alone will change how you behave in the future. The goal is not to control women. The goal is to stop killing attraction unknowingly. When you stop forcing logic, stop chasing presence, and stop overgiving attention, attraction has space to grow on its own. If you apply these truths correctly, you'll notice a shift. Conversations will feel lighter, women will open up more, you'll feel less anxious and more grounded, and attraction will feel natural instead of stressful. If you stayed until this point, I respect you. Most people want simple answers and quick tricks. Real understanding takes patience and honesty. Write your experience in the comments if you want. It helps others see what they couldn't before, and it helps me continue creating content like this. I'll see you in the next video.